architecture and artifacts. And each culture has an art identity and a cultural context, and no one would know better than Dr. James Dina over there, who's a profound, amazing, he practices by doing. I mean, this man is a treat for me to know, and as he educated me on the atlatl, if you're familiar with it. Ed? Oh, excuse me, let me go back to this phenomenon. These are all over New England, and it shows evidence of advanced technology. It's an equilateral triangle cut into the bedrock, so it's equal right side, left side, and the third side, as if we pushed the triangle into soft clay. Ed? Imminently close to that triangle is this upper left in Lynn, and
too far. Sorry, Jeffrey.
No,
We've
that's
got
all right.
some things taking control of their own here.
Isn't that interesting? Maybe there's a short. Oh, here's a real fun one. Down on Shoreline, Madison, there's a shopping center, and they had the brains, the wisdom, and the money to not bulldoze blast this bedrock eruption, and sitting on top of this bedrock eruption, the building makes a U shape around it, is this sits. So the bedrock really goes way down below that. I mean, that's a pretty good nugget. And they connected it with an Indian theme. All of that evades me. Go right ahead, Ed. Upper left, Mount Kisco, New York. That substone is 4 feet high, to give you an idea of magnitude. The two down below are of the same place, the same stone, in Lincoln Woods, North Providence, Rhode Island. The upper right is on Narragansett tribal lands, and if you know Doug Harris at all, the historian of the Narragansett tribe, a fine man. Ed? This dolmen, 5 props, 5 substones, it's probably the most photographed phenomenon because it's just plain so outrageous. As you go around it, there must be 28 or 32 different animals that I've identified as I go around and around and around. The substones are of a different bedrock geology, a different geological origin. The closest those substones is 80 miles away. So somebody did some transporting and put that beast up there. 60 tons is its guesstimated gross weight. The other 3 are the same stone in Peabody, Mass. And my heart broke. About a year and a half ago, I went back to that site. It was an unbelievable high point. You could look up and down the coast. You could look between 2 boulders and see the skyline of Boston on the North Shore. Peabody, Lynn abut each other. And this site has been devastated with like $2 million houses, about 30 of them maybe. They blasted it. It looks like they just cut the rock and went to get the grade to conform to the code. And I've got to go back and see what the heck is left, because that was one of the most unbelievable faces, which will be on this sequence, of the most obvious human profile with a star map looking like the Big Dipper in the side of his head. When I stuck my finger into the holes, the damn things were not round. They were outer round. And so I could feel this whoop, whoop, of warping inside the hole. So it was not a drill that did this. Ed? Again, different angles of North Salem. See how it morphs and changes? The upper two are the same as the previous. Here's our old buddy right in our backyard, Wolf Rock, lower left, Mansfield, Connecticut, about 1.5 miles below Stores. It's a public access. The site is dynamic as all get out. Look at this real good. I want you to see the light underneath this. 11 years ago, 11, 12, maybe even 13 years ago on snow, I go to that for the first time and notice that notch. I get on my hands and knees and the damn thing is an extension of the boulder. So we have the boulder and this triangular tooth comes down and makes tangency to the rock. And I'm looking at it and it hits me. The snow was on about 6 inches. I snapped a stick and drew a line off the point. There's a point pointing away from the stone. So the flat and the point is this way, in this direction. So I drew on the snow and went back and popped myself against the boulder. So the line, this is no kidding, it's a phenomenon. And up the line went and pointed to the highest mountain on the horizon down in Lebanon. So I go and get topo maps, state of Connecticut, and orientate where that is. And like 6, 8 weeks later, I go to that site. And so I'm hiking up, hoping to find something really outrageously dynamic. And there's a $2 million house on top. But we do not stop. I go, I've got the compass on me, the mud is all over. It was like March, and so I knock on the door. This delightful lady comes to the door. And I said, my name is Jeffrey Whittam. I'm an amateur archaeologist. She must have thought I was from outer space because I said, I've been following a stone line and it led me to your house. So I asked her, before this was constructed, did you see anything of any stone structure, anything here of stone that was like impressive? And here's what she said. It was nirvana. She said, yes, she said. There was a boulder a huge boulder, we bulldozed it, with another boulder on top like a church spire. Are you kidding me? I'll never see it, but guess what? I've got that whole thing orientated in my head, and there's a powerful, yet to be understood at that site. The other is Lynn, and it's amazing. There's a place called Cannon Rock, and a fellow by the name of James Woodall, who was the gentleman that mentioned Barry Fell to me. Sir, James Woodall and Barry Fell were, and James Woodall of early sites went to Cannon Rock in Lynn, and it's a 3-crop dolmen that's like an elongated cantilevered out over the baseline of what you'd think it should fall over, but it's counterweighted with a massive stone, and so it points on a tripod base, and this is at the base of this cliff, and there's an incredible spire. Picture a ledge, and then it comes out and drops again, and it's 30 feet almost vertical drop. On this ledge are 2 stones that run in parallel with maybe an 8-9 inch separation. On top of that is a 3rd stone, and on top of that is a 4th stone, and the whole configuration runs about 12 feet high like a big finger. And I've seen it in other places in solid instead of this configured. Believe me, there's a language out there. And I'm going to do my best to bring it out so the world can start to understand. Ed, Peabody, I mean, it's absolutely hot with evidence. Has anyone heard of Wolf Den? Pomfret. This lower right is imminently close to Wolf Den, but has anyone ever heard of the stone chair that sits near Wolf Den? I figured. No one knows, and it's exquisite. I think I have the picture here. Very typical. A boulder with a secondary, a big and a little. They're marking a direction, a big and a little. It's times 10 million of these are all over New England. A real neat Shutesbury, Mass, lower left Pelham. This is incorrect. That's in Shutesbury, Pelham, which is on the west side of the Quabbin, 10 and 202, a north-south run from Belchertown up to Orange and up through New Hampshire and God knows, and down in through Munson, Route 32. Excuse me, 10 and 202, Belchertown. The Quabbin, and you got Hardwick to the east and this ridge, and Shutesbury, Pelham, North New Salem, and they're both, because of the height and the vistas unobstructed, they're absolutely sacred places. East orientation is a powerful, sacred location for lithic structure. Ed? Lincoln Woods again, and what this starts to show is just plain a pattern of redundancy, redundancy, redundancy.